It's been evident across the country as we see the rioting, we see the demonstrations, we see brave, but we also see very tired police officers out there on the front line. Talking to us this morning is law enforcement specialist. He heads up the School of Criminology and Criminal Justice and Strategic Studies at Tarleton State University over there with Dr. Hurley. We say good morning to him as well. But first, we say good morning to Dr. Alex Del Carmen. Hey, Alex, how you doing? Thank you for joining me. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we had Dr. Hurley on about a week or so ago. Love him. I know your football team has stepped up, up in division, so I know great things happening at Tarleton State. But let's talk about law enforcement across the country. We know for a fact here in Memphis we're at least right at 700 officers short, and I know we can't be the only municipality that is struggling to keep good men and women on the force.
Absolutely. This is something that's happening across the United States right now. And what we're seeing is that, qualified individuals that would have otherwise made great police officers are simply turning away from the ranks of law enforcement, and they just don't want to be cops, and I can't say that I blame them, given the negativity, given the publicity that's going around our country and other parts of the world. Sure.
And we see the videos. I mean, even just you have to look no further than yesterday in Seattle and in Portland, where we saw officers being taunted. Louisville, where 2 officers were shot on Wednesday night, which was awesome, by the way. Yesterday during the roll call, Louisville Metro Police Department showed one of the officers that had been shot actually showed up for roll call, which had to be a huge morale booster. But even here, there's just not a lot of rookies coming in.
Right. And then on top of that, we've got a lot of senior folks that are retiring, right? So what I'm seeing here in the Texas area and other parts of the U.S. and what I'm hearing from police officers that have been around for 20, 25 years, they're not going to wait until they're 30 years. They're not going to wait until the bigger pension comes in. They're going to simply leave the ranks of law enforcement and go look for something else to do. I cannot tell you the number of cities that are looking for a chief of police. And just here in the Arlington, Dallas-Fort Worth area in Texas, we're looking for a chief of police in the 3 major cities of the metropolitan area, which include Dallas, Fort Worth, and Arlington. And in 22 years that I've been here, that's never happened that we do this at the same time. So it is a national a catastrophe in some ways that we're facing.
Wow, and obviously some of it is the retirement of veteran officers, not big recruiting classes, but I guess it would be hard to recruit when you can go out and you can find jobs with comparable or better pay without all of the hassle.
Exactly, or risking your life, right? So One of the things that we're seeing across the U.S. as well is that a lot of police departments like Houston and various others are offering bonuses, sign-up bonuses, right? So for individuals just to kind of attract people to the law enforcement career. And not even with that, not even with COVID and many people losing their jobs, are we finding the need or people that are interested and qualified. I would underscore qualified to be police officers, because a lot of people are interested, but, only a very few are in fact qualified. And right now is the last time in, the last moment in history that we need to kind of lower our standards. We need to actually increase them and train them better. But bottom line is that this is a national phenomenon, and I'm just concerned about what's going to happen in the future and what future years are going to bring to us if this is the beginning of a new normal in law enforcement.
Well, then on top of that, Alex Del Carmen joining us again on Memphis Morning News, the calls to abolish or defund the police altogether when many of the police forces are already weakened as it is, and at least here in the city, they're trying to also prevent, without a super majority of the county commission, the police department from receiving military equipment, which has, I guess, served its purpose in the military, and the surplus being passed on to us. They're trying to ban that as well.
Yeah, what we're seeing around the nation as well is that there's this defunding or reinventing the police campaign, which, to be quite honest with you, logic suggests that anytime you have someone or an entity that needs help, the last thing you want to do is take their funding away, right? So At the end of the day, by taking away their funding, you're limiting their ability to train, you're limiting their ability to use equipment that may be more modern, and you are limiting their ability to recruit better police officers. And so at the end of the day, it makes absolutely no sense. I mean, it makes sense from a political, ideological perspective, because you've got a lot of ideologues out there doing what they do. But at the end of the day, science has to prevail. And that's my claim to, in all of this, is that we have to look at science. We have to look at social scientists, criminologists like myself, and what we are saying, what we have been doing for the past years, where this is something that we've studied and we've shown in academic studies. There are answers to this, but not in the context of ideology and politics. When that happens, I'm afraid that we are affecting, our communities in a negative manner.
Are you seeing in your studies and in your research, are you seeing that the departments have been so depleted that even simple things like community outreach are being compromised simply because there's not enough officers to go into the neighborhoods and be at a dedicated outpost to kind of be that goodwill ambassador?
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, it's like, if you're going to be answering, you're going to have the option of answering a 911 call to someone whose life is in danger versus going out to a school and talk to kids or talk to parents. Guess which one you're going to choose as a police officer, right?
Sure.
Or as someone in charge of a police department. So you're exactly right. You're spot on. And then on top of that, then, who's going to want to join an entity where you're going to have computers that are 10, 15 years old, where you're going to have equipment that no longer uses, and where your life is going to be on the line every day, and your liability where you can lose everything you've ever earned and that of your family in a matter of a minute. I'm sorry, but a lot of people are going to turn away from that.
Well, and then we've also seen on top of that the willing negligence or the willing malice by media and politicians to just completely outright lie about what police officers do or have done. And we've seen such a false narrative, even just in Louisville and in other cities, that if I'm a police officer waking up, I'm thinking like, oh God, what's going to happen, today, as you said, that could take away, my lifetime earnings or even my life. Alex Del Carmen, thank you so much for joining us. All the best to you and the family at Tarleton State. We love you guys, and thank you so much for your contribution this morning, and hope you have a great weekend.
Thanks for having me. Thanks again.